dedicated to empowering you with information
to make positive choices
and be advocates for your overall well-being.
Welcome to The Health View.
Welcome to The Health View. I'm Yvonne Dunetz, and today we're going to be talking about what you can do in uncertain times. My guest is Rebecca Stevens. She is an emotional wellness coach. She created Rebecca Stevens Coaching to help clients process and release stress, negative emotional patterns, limiting beliefs, and traumas. She utilizes energy techniques and is a certified advanced emotional freedom technique practitioner, as well as being certified as a matrix re-imprinting practitioner. Rebecca has also co-authored books, Tapped Out for College Students, Stress Relief using EFT, and Tapped Out, a guided journal using EFT to overcome stress. She works with people of all ages, including children and young adults. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Rebecca, can you start our program helping our audience to learn a little bit about what is EFT?
So EFT, or Emotional Freedom Techniques, is an it's an energy technique that utilizes acupuncture points as well as using kind of a form of talk therapy to combine and help people release what they're feeling, lowering their cortisol, helping their immune support, helping clear brain fog. And it's one of those techniques that I wish I knew years and years and years ago. But when I found it, I knew that this was what I wanted to share with the world, because it is a technique that you can do yourself anytime, anywhere, and that's the beauty of it. So it's almost simplistically easy that people end up dismissing it, thinking, oh, well, how could that possibly work? But it does.
And what is matrix re-imprinting?
So matrix is kind of an advanced form of EFT where we go into an old memory, and you, as your current self, you speak with your younger self in your imagination, and based on whatever happened, we ask your younger self how they're feeling. We tap, and I'll show you how to do that today, just the tapping part. We tap in the matrix, like in your imagination, and then we rewrite the ending of the story to be whatever your younger self needed it to be. And in doing that, we actually recreate neural pathways, and we can then recall, the more often we recall the memory as that new ending, it completely rewrites trauma, it rewrites limiting beliefs, it rewrites patterns that we have. It's phenomenal to watch and to witness and to be a part of it.
That's wonderful. And Rebecca, the interesting thing is you are a early elementary educator before you started to get into this portion of your career, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I taught in Nashua.
Having learned this information, have you found it to be that much more helpful in reaching out to all populations to help them with these techniques?
I believe that EFT should be in every single school, starting from preschool, but it is something that any age can learn in such simplistic way. It's so simplistic. And in doing that, it helps kids learn right from the start how to cope with emotions that they may not be able to necessarily voice. And a lot of times when working with children, especially young children, I'll ask them what color they feel. And they can oftentimes say, oh, I feel really purple today. And then we tap about that. And while they may not say, I'm really frustrated and angry, they may not have that verbiage. By tapping about what color they feel, it helps reduce that intensity within their body of whatever they're feeling. And they learn how to do this method, which then can carry them through life.
Wonderful. So let's begin. Let's begin with teaching people brief energy correction techniques.
Yes.
Guide us through this.
Yes, so this isn't actually emotional freedom techniques. This is just an energy balancing technique, and it's called brief energy correction. And basically what I like to do is I take the hand that I do not write with and I put it over my belly button. And you're just going to leave that there, and you're going to cover your belly button up the whole time, okay? So, and I'm going to warn you, some of these seem a little weird and a little out there, but just give them a try because they work so well. How can you not just give it a try kind of thing? It's like, what do you have to lose? With your writing hand, you're going to put your thumb and your pointer finger on your collarbones and then just kind of slide them off, like roll them off and a little under the collarbone. And you're just going to press into that part. And as you do that, you're going to just take a nice deep breath in and out. And then the next point, first off, always wash your hands, but especially now with COVID, the next point is right underneath your nose. You're going to pressure point there, and you're going to breathe in and out. And then right in the crease of your chin. So pressure pointing right in that crease. Nice breath in and out. And then if it's comfortable, you reach around and you press on your lower spine or your tailbone. Okay. And you're just going to take another nice deep breath in and then out. And you're basically going to repeat those points. And the whole time the one hand is over your belly button. And I just repeat these points probably 5 to 6 times. And from collarbone to tailbone would be 1 round. Okay. So do that a couple of times, and then you kind of reassess how you're feeling. A lot of times people, before they even start, they may say like, okay, 0 to 10, 0 is nothing, 10 is like, this is a big deal. How am I feeling? And then they give it a number, and then afterwards they can come back after doing this exercise and any of the exercises that I'm going to show you today and reassess what intensity that emotion is. And a lot of times it will have dropped closer to 0. And so, you can either go back and continue to do those points, taking a nice deep breath, or even just breathing slowly or regularly as you move from point to point, and just until you feel a lot more relaxed. And then I'd also like to show, because we don't always want to be touching around our face, you can keep your hand over your belly button, pressure point right underneath the collarbones, and then top of head where you're kind of pushing down a little bit, back to your collarbones, and then the tailbone point. And that would be considered 1 round for that. So that's considered brief energy correction. And what it's doing is it's connecting the meridian lines, which are your energy pathways. You have one in the front and then one that goes up and over the back of your head and down. And it kind of reconnects them and recorrects them so that your energy is a little bit more balanced and you feel a little less scattered or overwhelmed. So I love this exercise when I kind of have that moment of like, I don't know what to do and I'm super scattered, super overwhelmed. I just take a couple minutes and just kind of do this, and it works so well to just kind of bring everything down. Use this when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling scattered, when the emotion's so big you don't even know where to start. This is the perfect thing to do for those moments. What you would want to do first, take a rating. 0 is no big deal, nothing's going on. 10 is, this is huge, this is a big deal. Okay? Anywhere, whatever number it is for in there, maybe a 7 or an 8. Okay? You just make a mental note. Then you're going to take your non-dominant hand, your non-writing hand, you're going to put that over top your belly button. So you're basically going to cover that up and you're going to leave that hand there the whole time. Okay? With your pointer and your thumb, you're going to put one on one side of your collarbone and one on the other side. Okay. And you're just going to let it roll off your collarbone. So it's kind of sitting underneath, and you're going to pressure point with those 2 fingers. You're just going to take a nice deep breath in.
Really
pressure
hard
points, just applying some pressure. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to, leave a mark or anything, but you want to be able to feel the pressure. Okay. And you're just going to take a nice deep breath in. Some people like to close their eyes. Some people keep them open. And just exhale. And once you're done exhaling, you're going to move your pointer finger up to underneath your nose. So right in the crease under your nose. And remember, you're keeping that one hand over your belly button the whole time. That doesn't move. And you're just going to pressure point here. And again, take a nice deep breath in and then out. And then right in the crease of your chin, pressure pointing there, breathing in and out. And then reaching around to wherever's most comfortable on your lower spine or your tailbone. Okay, and you're just going to pressure point there. Another nice deep breath in and out. And that right there is considered one round. And you usually want to do about 5 or 6 rounds of it and then reassess. And then really quickly, I'd like to just remind everyone about the points not to touch their face. So if you're out in public or something like that, I highly suggest if you're feeling stressed, go sit in the bathroom, take a couple minutes, pressure point here with your hand, then pressure point top of your head where you're just flat hand pressing down, okay? And then back to that collarbone after each breath, and then back around to the tailbone. And you're just going to repeat that. Then afterwards, maybe shake your hands out a little bit, roll your shoulders, take a couple deep breaths, and then reassess on that rating scale, that 0 to 10 scale, and see if it's moved a little. And most people feel a dramatic calming sensation. That may not get them down to a 0 in that moment, but they'll drop dramatically. If they want to continue, like maybe they got from a 8 to a 4, but they want to reduce even more, then you maybe could just do 3 rounds and see where you're at. Okay. But it's just such a great technique because you don't have to think about what you're going to say or talk about or how even you're feeling. You're just breathing and connecting that energy loop that you have that naturally goes in your body.
And you can do the sitting down, lying down, standing up.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I find if you're laying on your back, it might be hard to get your hand behind you. But if you're laying on your side, certainly.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the emotional first aid technique.
Yes. So this is a technique that I like to show kids a lot. So if you take your non-dominant hand, your non-writing hand, and then with your writing hand, you're going to squeeze your thumb and you're going to squeeze it pretty well, but obviously not to hurt yourself. And this one takes a little bit of practice. So if you don't get it this time, then you want to just practice another time, but you're just going to take a nice deep breath in and then out as you're squeezing that thumb. And you can squeeze it either this way or this way, whatever's most comfortable for you. And if one hand hurts or you have arthritis or something, you can always switch hands. It doesn't matter. Okay. So once you've taken that nice deep breath in, you're just going to tune into the thumb that's being squeezed. And some people find it's helpful to close their eyes to do this because it's less distracting. And you're going to wait and kind of tune into any kind of a pulsing or a tingling, or it's a very subtle energy movement that you would feel. And once you've felt it, then you'll know what you're looking for. But sometimes it takes 30 seconds or so. But once you feel it, then you're going to move to the next finger. Okay. And again, a nice squeeze as you breathe in and out. And then tuning in and squeezing until you feel that little tingle or throb or pulsing. And it's very, very subtle. It's not the pulse that you would feel if you took your pulse kind of thing. It's an energy motion. And what we're doing when we do this exercise is just kind of opening up, and I call it desludging the meridian lines, the energy lines that you have in your fingers. Okay. And then moving to the next finger and taking a nice deep breath in and out and tuning into that finger. And once you feel that little subtle tingle or throb, you're going to move to the next finger. Nice deep breath in and out. And the beauty of this exercise is you can do this if you're a student or you're in a meeting or something. You could do this under your desk, in your lap. And then moving to your pinky. Another squeeze and breath in and out. And then once you feel that little tingle or whatever your energy movement feels like, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to put it right into the center of your palm. Okay, and you're going to pressure point there. And then you're just going to turn your finger around and put this, if you put your pointer finger on the pinky knuckle, You're going to slide it in between the two knuckles and then back onto the back of your hand between, there's like two tendons there. You can feel that groove. And you're going to kind of give it a pretty decent rub. So you're pressing there and you're pressing there. This is called your gamut point. And it's a triple warmer for acupuncture folks out there. It's a pretty powerful point. I call this point my heart center or my acceptance button. Okay, so this is a really great de-stress right here. Okay, and usually once you get to this point, I say to breathe in for 6 and then out for 6.
And are you manipulating both sides, this gentle movements, or just holding position?
I usually, for this exercise, I usually just hold it and just pressure point. But if it feels good, do some rubbing. Why? It's one of those things like you're trying to get that energy movement. So if rubbing feels really good, go for it. Okay. And the neat thing about this exercise is each finger is associated with a different emotion. So if you notice that one finger is taking a little bit longer than the others to get moving, you might want to say, oh, what's going on here? And it helps you kind of tune in. So your thumb is worry. Your pointer is fear. What do you suppose your middle finger is?
Go ahead.
Anger.
Right.
It's anger, right?
Yeah.
And then ring finger is sadness. And then your pinky is just doing too much or being overwhelmed. Okay, and this is helpful with little kids because they don't often know how to voice what they're feeling. But as soon as we clue them in, like which finger took long enough, like took a little longer, they'll say, well, my pointer finger, this finger did. And we can say, oh, what are you scared about? Are you scared of something? And it helps get that dialogue going. So, but in general, I like this exercise that I just showed you. First thing in the morning upon waking up, I do this and it just kind of gets my energy just moving along. And then I do it again right before bed. And that's a great way to end the day. Just kind of taking the edge off of everything and just helping you just kind of relax everything and have that energy movement through your body in just a really healthy way.
So without discussing, just show each of the things that you did so that they can see it again. And then we'll move on to the tapping experience.
All right. So squeezing. Once you feel that, you're moving, squeezing, and moving, and breathing each time in between. Each finger gets a nice good squeeze until you feel that tingle. And the pinky. And again, either direction works. And then thumb to the center, the acceptance or the heart center button, I call it. And then right into the back of that crease on the back of your hand between your pinky and ring finger. And you're just going to pressure point or even give a good rub. Okay. It doesn't line up, so it feels a little weird, but this is a really great technique.
And you do
and
this
then from
5
here
to
you would
6 times, you said?
This you just do once.
Okay.
But this I like to do first thing in the morning. I go through, done. And then last thing at night. And then if I need to during the day, I'll do it also.
Excellent. Now let's go into tapping anytime, anywhere.
Yes. So this is emotional freedom techniques or tapping. Okay. And basically what we'll be doing is tapping on specific points on our upper torso. And as we are tapping on these points, we're saying whatever it is that's bothering us. So let's say that, and the big key here is the more specific you can get, the better, but you want to keep it simple. Okay, so we're almost boring our brain so that feeling stressed out over something is like, nah, whatever kind of thing. So when we start out, we like to do that rating again, 0 to 10. Okay, it gives us a good place to just kind of judge how we're moving along. Sometimes it'll bump up, but most of the time it'll go down. And we start by tapping right on that fleshy side of your hand. Okay, and you're just going to tap with a couple fingers there. And when we're tapping there, it doesn't matter which hand. No, and especially when I'm in session with a client, we can get a little bit more wordy. And so it's perfectly fine to switch. Okay, I just tend to tap with my dominant hand. All right. Okay. So here we start with something called a setup statement. And so you would say, even though, and then whatever it is that's bothering you. So even though I'm really stressed out about this presentation I have to give, And then you want to say something positive about yourself. And I find that I'm working on this. I'm working on me is a really good positive thing. Okay. And then we repeat that 2 more times. So even though I had this really stressful presentation, I'm working on it. I'm working on me. Even though I'm really stressed about this presentation, I'm working on this. I'm working on me. And then the very first point is right where your eyebrow hair starts, and you actually have 2. Okay. So you can tap with a single hand, and I use 3 fingers and I tap right across my eyebrow. Okay. Some people like to tap with both hands. All right. I, especially because I'm wanting to see my clients, I tap with one hand so that I can see them. Okay. So you play around with it and see what works best for you. And here you would just say whatever it is that's bothering you. So this stressful presentation. And then you're going to slide your fingers down to the side of your eyes on the bony part, and you're going to tap there. Okay. Again, you can tap 2 or just 1. The stressful presentation. And then underneath your eye, again, you have 2 points. The stressful presentation. You really want to say what you're feeling. Okay. And then right again in that crease of your nose, this stressful situation. And then right in the crease of your chin, all this stress about this presentation. And then here you're going to put your fingers on your collarbones, and you're going to drop them about 1 inch or so. Okay, so it's almost in between your rib bones, and you can feel it's kind of tender. You can tap both sides. You can tap one side, or you can make a U and tap both sides like that. Okay, whatever works best for you. This presentation stress. And then you're going to reach under your arm. So it's not up in your armpit, but it's just along the side of your body under your arm. You're going to tap there. This stressful presentation, all this stress. And then the final point is right up at the tip top of your head. All this stress. And what you want to do is just kind of go through those points a couple of times until you start to feel a little bit better. I would say after 3 times going through all of those points, you want to take a nice deep breath in. Let that out, and then re-rate where you're feeling on that scale as far as 0 to 10 on that stress of it. Or you may even want to get more specific, like, you know what, it's the technology part of it that's really stressing me out, right? Or something like that. So, you know, that's what I did before this.
What I love you to do is many people are feeling a lot of stress related to the pandemic and the challenges and the uncertainty. Could you please now, doing 2 rounds, give us something that we can all do to help us
Absolutely
deal with those challenges? So we'll follow.
Sure.
Address that, please.
Yeah. All right. So on the side of your hand, and Yvonne, if you'd like, repeat after me after I say it. If you want to say it, that's basically what people do in session. So even though these are uncertain times. And it really stresses me out. I'm working on this. So even though these are really stressful times. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm working on this. I'm working on me. So even though I'm so stressed with these uncertain times. I'm working on this. And then on your eyebrow. So stressed. And then the side of your eye. These uncertain times. And then under your eye. It's so stressful. I don't know what's going on. And then under your nose. All this stress. And then your chin. These times are so uncertain. And then the collarbone. So just underneath it. These uncertain times are so stressful.
are so stressful.
And then under your arm. I'm so stressed.
I'm so stressed.
Top of your head. All these uncertain times.
All these certain times.
I'm so stressed about them.
I'm so stressed about them.
Eyebrow. These uncertain times.
Certain times.
Side of your eye. They get me so stressed.
I'm so stressed.
Under your eye. These uncertain times.
It's uncertain times.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Under your nose. These uncertain times.
Uncertain times.
Chin. They stress me out so much.
They stress me out so much.
Collarbone. But I've got a new tool.
But I have you too.
Under your arm. I'm taking control of my stress.
Taking control of my stress.
Top of your head. I'm right here, right now.
I'm right here, right now.
I'm working on it.
I'm working on it.
I'm working on me.
I'm working on me.
Because I'm worth it.
Because I'm worth it.
And then taking a nice deep breath in and out. And the more specific you can get, the better.
And you do it for how many rounds? Like 3 rounds of that?
So I usually do 2 to 3 rounds, check in, kind of see what number I'm at that point, fine tune it a little bit more, do a couple more rounds with the fine-tuning that wording, and just really just keep going until you feel better.
Excellent. So in summarization, you reviewed with us the energy correction techniques. You want to just briefly show that and then show the emotional first aid and then the tapping so people know the
Sure.
that you gave them for tools in their toolbox.
Yes. So this technique, the brief energy correction, can be used anytime, anywhere. You put your one hand over your belly button, your pointer and thumb on your collarbones, slide them under, press and breathe. Then under your nose, press and breathe. Chin, press and breathe. Tailbone, press and breathe. And you will want to do that about 6 times and then check in, repeat. Okay. And then emotional first aid is where you have your hand, you give it a squeeze as you take a breath. And then once you feel that little tingle or pulsing, you'd move to the next finger, squeeze and breathe. Wait for that movement. Sometimes can take 30 to 60 seconds. So just holding space and being patient, and then moving to the next finger and doing that all the way through. And then thumb to your middle of your palm, and then right onto the back of your hand, right in that groove, pressure pointing, taking a nice deep breath in and then out. And then with tapping, you're going to start with the side of your hand, tapping, saying, even though, plugging in whatever is bothering you, and finishing it with something positive, like I'm working on this, I'm working on me, repeating that 3 times. If you forget, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world, right? It's kind of a focusing in, right? Then the first point is your eyebrow, where you're just going to be saying whatever's bothering you. Okay, and more simplistic but specific you can get, the better. Then moving to the side of your eye, repeating, I'm so stressed out, these uncertain times, whatever it is, under your eye, staying on that bony portion. And then under your nose, and just repeating at each point what it is that's bothering you. And be really honest with yourself. And then your chin point, and then your collarbone point, just really underneath your collarbone. And then underneath, and it doesn't matter how many times you tap. Some people like to tap for a while, like 5 or 6 times. Some people just move right along, okay? And then right up at the very tip top of your head. And then take a nice deep breath in.
Excellent. These are so helpful. We greatly appreciate it. We want our audience to take advantage of these tools, use this to empower yourself, to help you to deal with these uncertain times. You can watch this on Access Nashua, the Health View at Access Nashville, as well as on YouTube, the Health View at YouTube, and there are other techniques and tools for you there. Thank you very much. Wishing everyone
Thank
good
you.
health and be well and take care. Until
All right.
next time.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.